The Baltic states of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania share a complex and often troubled history with their eastern neighbor, Russia. This relationship has been shaped by centuries of conflict, shifting borders, and political upheaval. The Baltic region, strategically located on the eastern coast of the Baltic Sea, has long been a crossroads of various empires and cultures, making it a focal point of geopolitical interest. Forcibly incorporated into the Soviet Union in 1940, these nations endured decades of Soviet rule marked by political repression and economic exploitation. The Soviet regime imposed harsh measures to suppress national identity, including mass deportations, censorship, and the suppression of local languages and traditions. The impact of these policies was profound, leaving deep scars on the collective memory of the Baltic peoples. Memories of this period, etched deeply in the national consciousness, fueled a strong desire for independence and a deep distrust of the Kremlin's intentions. The resistance movements that emerged in the Baltic states were driven by a fierce determination to reclaim their sovereignty and preserve their cultural heritage. These movements gained momentum in the late 1980s, culminating in the Singing Revolution, a series of peaceful protests that played a crucial role in the eventual collapse of Soviet control. With the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania finally regained their sovereignty, but the shadow of Russian influence continued to loom large. The newly independent states faced numerous challenges, including economic restructuring, political instability, and the need to establish new international alliances. Despite these obstacles, the Baltic states made significant strides in building democratic institutions and integrating with Western Europe. Joining NATO and the European Union in 2004 marked a decisive step towards the West, but the legacy of historical grievances and strategic vulnerabilities remained. The Baltic states' accession to these organizations was seen as a vital security guarantee against potential aggression from Russia. However, the geopolitical tensions in the region persist, with ongoing concerns about Russian military activities and cyber threats. The Baltic states continue to navigate a complex landscape, balancing their aspirations for peace and prosperity with the realities of their historical and geographical context. In February 2025, the Baltic states took a bold step towards severing their remaining energy ties with Russia by disconnecting from the Russian electricity grid. This symbolic move, years in the making, saw them synchronize with the continental European network, integrating their energy infrastructure with that of Western Europe. The decision, while lauded by some as a crucial step towards energy security and independence, has come at a significant cost. Energy prices have soared for Baltic citizens, raising concerns about the economic and social consequences of this ambitious undertaking. The move represents a gamble, a bet that the pursuit of strategic autonomy outweighs the immediate economic pain. The immediate and most tangible consequence of the Baltic states' energy shift has been the dramatic increase in energy costs for their citizens. Households and businesses alike are grappling with significantly higher electricity bills, placing a strain on personal finances and threatening the competitiveness of Baltic industries. While governments have offered some subsidies and support measures, the impact on living standards has been undeniable. This has led to growing public discontent and criticism, with many questioning whether the pursuit of energy independence is worth the economic sacrifice being demanded of ordinary citizens. The long-term economic ramifications remain uncertain, but the short-term pain is being felt acutely. The Baltic states' decision to disconnect from the Russian electricity grid is about far more than just kilowatts and megawatts. It represents a calculated geopolitical maneuver aimed at reducing their vulnerability to Russian pressure and influence. For years, Moscow has weaponized energy exports, leveraging its dominant position in the region to exert political and economic control over its neighbors. The Baltic states, acutely aware of this tactic, view energy independence as essential to safeguarding their sovereignty and national security. By aligning themselves more closely with Western Europe, they aim to diminish Russia's leverage and bolster their own strategic autonomy. While the ambition to achieve energy independence is widely supported, The execution of the Baltic states' strategy has not been without its critics. Concerns have been raised about the speed of the transition, the adequacy of alternative energy sources, and the level of preparedness for potential disruptions. Critics argue that governments should have done more to diversify their energy mix, invest in renewable energy infrastructure, and secure alternative supply routes before making such a drastic move. The lack of a clear and comprehensive plan to mitigate the economic impact on citizens has also drawn sharp criticism. Whether these concerns are addressed effectively will largely determine the long-term success or failure of this audacious gamble. The Baltic states' energy crisis has exposed the complexities and internal tensions within the European Union's approach to Russia. The situation has brought to light the intricate web of dependencies and political alliances that define the EU's energy landscape. As the Baltic states strive to reduce their reliance on Russian energy, they face numerous challenges, including the need for substantial investment in alternative energy sources and infrastructure. While the EU has broadly supported the Baltic states' pursuit of energy independence, the bloc has struggled to present a united front in the face of Russian aggression. Different member states have varying levels of dependence on Russian energy, leading to divergent priorities and responses. This lack of cohesion has sometimes undermined the EU's ability to effectively counter Russia's energy leverage. Sanctions and restrictive measures against Russia, while intended to pressure the Kremlin, have had unintended consequences for some member states, including the Baltic countries. These measures have sometimes exacerbated the energy shortages and economic difficulties faced by these nations, highlighting the need for a more nuanced approach. This has led to calls for greater solidarity and burden sharing within the EU, with some arguing that more needs to be done to support those on the front lines of the standoff with Russia. The debate over how to achieve this has been intense, with proposals ranging from increased financial aid to the development of a common energy policy that ensures fair distribution of resources. The energy crisis has highlighted the need for a more coherent and coordinated European energy policy that balances the interests of all member states. Such a policy would not only enhance energy security, but also promote sustainability and resilience in the face of future crises. The path forward requires a delicate balance of national interests and collective action, ensuring that no member state is left behind. The Baltic states' disconnection from the Russian electricity grid has also raised security concerns, particularly regarding potential sabotage and hybrid threats in the already tense Baltic Sea region. This move, while aimed at increasing energy independence, has inadvertently exposed vulnerabilities that adversaries might exploit. The region's strategic importance, coupled with its proximity to Russia, makes it a focal point for geopolitical tensions. Fears of cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure, disinformation campaigns aimed at sowing discord, and even military provocations have intensified. These threats are not just theoretical. They have been observed in various forms, from attempts to disrupt communication networks to spreading false information to create panic and mistrust among the population. NATO, recognizing the heightened vulnerability of its Baltic members, has responded by increasing its military presence in the region, conducting air and sea patrols, and strengthening its intelligence-gathering capabilities. These measures are designed to provide a rapid response to any potential threats and to reassure the Baltic states of the alliance's commitment to their defense. The alliance has also pledged to defend its members against any aggression, sending a clear message of deterrence to Moscow. Regular military exercises and the deployment of additional troops are part of this strategy, demonstrating NATO's readiness to act decisively in the face of any hostile actions. Despite these reassurances, the Baltic states remain anxious about their security, acutely aware that they are on the front line of any potential conflict between Russia and the West. The citizens of these nations live with the daily reality of geopolitical tensions, and their governments continue to invest in defense and security measures to protect their sovereignty and maintain stability in the region. The recent energy crisis in Moldova's breakaway region of Transnistria provides a stark reminder of the challenges faced by countries seeking to escape Russia's energy orbit. Heavily reliant on Russian gas supplies, Transnistria found itself in a precarious position when Moscow abruptly cut off the flow of energy. This move, widely seen as punishment for Transnistria's refusal to align itself more closely with the West, plunged the region into chaos. The crisis highlighted the risks of energy dependence and the lengths to which Russia is willing to go to maintain its influence in its near abroad. The Baltic states' bold move to disconnect from the Russian electricity grid represents a pivotal moment in their quest for energy independence and geopolitical autonomy. However, the long-term sustainability of this strategy remains uncertain. The economic challenges are significant, and the security risks cannot be ignored. Moving forward, the Baltic states will need to navigate a delicate balance between maintaining their strategic independence and ensuring the economic well-being of their citizens. This will require continued investment in renewable energy sources, diversification of energy supplies, and close cooperation with their European partners. The success or failure of this endeavor will have profound implications not only for the Baltic states themselves, but for the future of Europe's energy security and the wider geopolitical landscape.